Hi there, Chris from Stone Age Gamer here. Let's talk a little bit about the Sega Saturn. This is a fantastic game system. It's got a wonderful game library, but some of those games have the capability of using a 3D controller, which is not the easiest thing to find these days. When you do find it, it can be a little bit expensive, and even when you do get your hands on one, it's a giant, weird circle controller that's not exactly the most comfortable thing to hold. Wouldn't it be great if there was a modern solution for 3D analog gaming on the Sega Saturn? Well, there is! This is the Sega Saturn Pro controller from Retrobit. It's officially licensed, it's compatible with 3D and 2D games, and well, it's right here. Let's take a look. Well, alright, here we are with the Sega Saturn Pro controller. This is officially licensed by Sega. This is made by Retrobit. Similar to this fella right over here, this is their previous wireless one, which is designed after this, which is the original Saturn controller. So this is all kind of coming from, let's make new versions of this. So these two are actually identical as far as size and weight is concerned. So I'm just going to use this because then I'm not flopping a wire around when we compare these two. So obviously the big difference is this one's got more stuff on it. This is also a little bit heavier than this one, which you would expect since it's got, well, more stuff. Size-wise, it's a little bit bigger, which I thought so by looking at it. You can see it's just got a little bit more height going on. Well, not height, when I'm holding it this way, but it actually goes all around. They added this extra little space down here to put the analog sticks. So you can see that it does have overall a bigger footprint, or should I say, handprint, because it's a controller. Anyway, it's got an LR, ZL, and ZR, and that's because this can be used not just for Saturn. This can be connected to a PC and use it for general use. But really, the draw here, at least from let's say a Stone Age gamer perspective, is that this is a more modern feeling 3D enabled controller. This does work with 3D enabled games, and this is a considerably easier to hold controller than the strange circular Sega Saturn 3D controller, which I unfortunately don't have one on me to do a direct comparison between the two, but that's a strange controller, and it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. The analog stick is kind of bonkers. This is the, let's go D-pad. Let's talk D-pad. This is probably my favorite D-pad in the history of mankind, and this controller replicates that perfectly. This seems to do the same exact thing. The buttons have about the same amount of give as they do on these old controllers. They've still got the same basic shape, right? These top three, the X, Y, Z's are more rounded, and these are concave. Your start button feels the same. It is a little strange having these double triggers on top of here. That's going to take me some getting used to because, well, I'm so used to this controller. But it's not really a bad thing. It's just something I got to get used to because it's different and change is terrifying. That is really all there is to show off as far as physically what this controller does. Yeah, the analog sticks are a little bit small, but in all honesty, this does not feel uncomfortable in the least. It's got some good give. It does have a right analog stick. The analog sticks do press like buttons if you're doing something that involves something like that. So really the only thing left to do now is to see this thing in action. So let's go try it out. Alright, so here we are with some Street Fighter Alpha 2, and if I'm ever going to test inputs on a controller, Street Fighter games are a pretty great way to do it. So let's see how all the buttons feel, let's see how the D-pad feels, and let's see if I can beat up Zangief here. So, we're just doing D-pad and buttons right now. We've got, obviously, your 6 face buttons, weak, medium, fierce. They're just laid out exactly like you expect them to be. Throwing fireballs is nice and easy. This D-pad is... it's exactly what you'd want out of one of these D-pads. Look at that, I was even able to do that first try. Look at that. Good times. The shoulder buttons, looks like there's your triples and stuff like that, so that's cool. This seems to be great. I can't notice any input lag at all. I mean, I'm playing here on a CRT, but even wireless controller, no input lag to the best of my ability. How dare you parry me, sir? So I guess the only thing left to do now is get the beat out of me and test out the 3D functionality on... Oh, I blocked it on this controller. So let's switch games to something a little bit more 3D friendly, shall we? All right, so here we are with Nights into Dreams, and I have this switched over to the analog mode, and here is the analog stick doing its thing. I am flying around as Knights, and you can see, I'm going into a straight line here, so you can see the subtle movements. I'm just going to turn a little bit, and I don't just have the 8 cardinal directions. I have three free 360-degree range of movement here, and it does the trick. The analog stick holds up just fine. It's not as big as you would expect an analog stick to be on a modern controller, but it's not uncomfortable. I'm having a good time with it, and the game seems to control really well. So there you have it. That is the Saturn Pro controller from Retrobit, the officially licensed Saturn controller. It functions with your regular two-dimensional Saturn games, and anything 3D enabled, you should be good to go. The officially licensed Saturn Pro controller from Retrobit is available now at StoneAgeGamer.com, so you can play all of your 3D enabled Saturn games on an analog stick the way nature intended. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like what you saw here today, please follow, comment, like, subscribe, and let us know down in the comments which games are you going to play first with your fancy Saturn Pro controller. I hear Croc, The Legend of Gobos is actually 3D analog compatible. I don't have that game. I've never tried it on Saturn. Sounds like fun. I'll probably wind up just playing Earthworm Jim 2 again instead because, well, the music in that game is great. Anyway, thanks again for watching. On behalf of all of us here at Stone Age Gamer, keep playing games. That. Take that, fish.